Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sisters and Law. My name is Judge Tee, and I'm here with my co-host,
Rosalyn Charles. Welcome, people.
Our co-host has, every week she's decided that she wants to give a word, and so I'm going to let her give you today's word.
And today's word, I think, is important because, yes, ladies and gentlemen, words do matter. So our quote for today is, "Words are singularly the most powerful force available to humanity. We can choose to use this force constructively with words of encouragement or destructively using words of despair. Words have energy and power with the ability to help, to heal, to hinder, to hurt, to harm, to humiliate, and to humble." Yeheda Berg.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, one of the apropos moments that we have right now is that we have a president who has difficulty with the truth. Now, we all are so aware of the 7 years of questioning the validity of President Obama, questioning his birthright, questioning his education. Now we're at a place where he's now the president.
Yes.
Now, so the flip side, you know, anytime you say something about him, he wants an apology immediately,
yes.
or he wants to be able to sue. I was just this week, I've had the opportunity to take my daughter to school to register for her freshman year. And it's in the South, it's in Florida. And I was able to get a different perspective of what people that are not from the northern New Jersey area, how they look at this politics and what they believe to be truth.
And what were you able to discern just based on your encounters?
They are at they know Donald Trump down there as this big billionaire. And they really believe, actually believe that what he says is truth.
Should we hold that against them? Because, you know, you should be able to believe what your president says.
Yes, you should.
There should be credence in his words. So these individuals are just being American.
I think there should be a baseline, just a natural baseline between fact and fiction. And one of the things that Donald Trump is now using is fake news. Now, we know that the First Amendment protects the freedom of the press, but some of the words that he has said is causing not only are they lies, but we also know that words he said has now, I think you were telling me about some words that he has used over the campaign that are causing people to be violent against other people.
Well, specifically, I think most recently on Friday, a federal judge in Kentucky ruled that during the campaign, specifically on a rally that Trump held on March 1st of 2016, when he said, "Go get him" or "Get him out of here," that federal judge has ruled that those words are not protected by the First Amendment, and that the parties that are suing Trump, 3 of his supporters, and the Trump campaign can move forward with their suit. There was a hearing.
So these are Republicans that are suing?
No, these are people who were present at one of Trump's rallies.
Because remember the gentleman that was going up the steps, and as he was going up the steps, the guy just swung up and punched him as he was walking out of the rally?
I don't believe it was that. I do not think it was that particular rally. It was another rally where 3 individuals were hurt as a result of basically the judge is saying potentially as a result of the words that campaigning Trump said, and he said, "Get him out of here." This was as a result of.
Well, back in the day, they would be going out in a stretcher.
Get him out of here. So, and we know this as attorneys that words that incite violence are not protected. By the First Amendment.
Slander is not protected. See, that one of the things that when you become what you call a person of with famous or infamous, whichever term you want to use in this. And Donald Trump's, I would call infamous. Most people think when you hear the word infamous that it's positive. No, that means that you're popular for something negative.
Right.
And so I think Donald Trump is more infamous than he is famous. And one of the now we're at the place where Mike Flynn, during the campaign, remember they were just railing on Hillary Clinton and her campaign, and basically indicating that Mike Flynn now, who is lifelong military, who is someone who we had as a part of our national security, actually joined in saying lock her up.
Well,
and saying that if anybody who is asking for immunity must be guilty of a crime. And then remember, the 45th came right behind him and says anybody who wants immunity must be guilty of a crime. And guess who's now trying to get immunity? Now, immunity is when you're asking the authorities not to prosecute or not to hold against you any words you may say or any words that may be during the course of sworn testimony.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I think all of this is just kind of theater that's been put on by the campaign. Trump has gone as far as to say, yes, let him speak, because the real story, according to Trump, needs to come out. But
Trump is also saying that he should get immunity.
He's saying that, but you see, when we talk about the words, in general, I take with no credence anything that the 45th says, and that's what the problem is that we have a faction of this country that swallows everything that the 45th says, and we have a faction of this country who's decided not to pay attention, and then you have a faction of this country that just doesn't believe anything that comes out of the 45th's mouth.
That's a problem for me.
Right.
And it's a problem for me because again, as I'm sending off my daughter to go to college, I go back to when Melania. And again, this is not to malign the new first lady. I give her the title of first lady before I will call the 45th president. And she was allowed to give a speech that plagiarized Michelle Obama. And Donald Trump actually laughed that off as a joke.
Now, if
my daughter goes to college and puts one line of anybody's word in a term paper, she's going to get kicked out of school, not reprimand.
At least highly disciplined. If we as attorneys do not credit individuals with our citations within our briefs, that's a problem.
Anybody knows you do a thesis if you don't have your footnotes, if you don't have your content.
Exactly.
You just cannot take other people's words and use them as your own.
Well, let's get back to the fact that words do matter. Now, with this lawsuit that is proceeding by 3 individuals that were hurt, the judge has indicated that in some that words do matter, and that he may have indeed incited violence. And in so doing, not only we know what the First Amendment says, we know that freedom of speech does not run rampant, and you cannot just say anything. But let's just.
But this is what the reason why I can tell you why Donald Trump is not worried about that, because you can't sue the president.
Well,
they may be able to sue after he leaves office.
Well, I don't know. They're suing him based on acts that he committed
before
he became president. If you recall, Clinton got caught up in a whole bunch of suits about acts that he committed or may have committed before he became president.
Well, he did, like Donald Trump, he just paid, $25 million on that lawsuit that he said he would never pay for the Trump University. So
we know that he resolved that.
He resolved that.
Forward with his agenda.
Well, but remember, he said he would never pay. Well, see, never doesn't always mean never. Words, I guess words only matter when they're to his advantage.
Exactly. But
there's a lot to be said about this, because we're at a period of time where we're with an administration, And I'm looking at the Republicans and how they are reacting, because there are very honorable Republicans. Really, I go back to McCain, and I respect
we're
him.
bringing up Republicans, we're bringing up Democrats,
Democrats, and
but I don't think that
independents.
the
The truth doesn't have a party.
The
truth doesn't have a party.
The truth is not a partisan issue.
But if you, and the reason why I say that, there are some who will just say, if that's what the president believes. You can't just say, if that's what the president believes, when you know that, in fact, that what he's saying is a lie. I mean,
maybe that's in fact what they believe.
No, I don't. I think in order for us to be the leader of the free world, as we want to call ourselves here in America, in order for us to maintain the dignity that we have maintained for hundreds of years, we cannot let it all go asunder.
And I think
just to allow the 45th to be able to say whatever he wants.
That is the bigger question, because as the President of the United States, you need to be able to lead. And part of your leadership has to deal with your integrity. And do people believe in your words? And how do you move forward an agenda, whether you agree with that agenda or not? Because we know, at least at this point, he's at big odds within his own party.
Yes.
But how do you move your agenda forward if you yourself have no credibility?
And you know why we know he doesn't have any credibility?
Yes.
All right, so he loses the health care bill.
Right.
So in order to try to punk, and this is what I'm going to say, in order to try to punk the conservatives, he says, well, if you don't come back to the table with my bill, I'm going to go to the Dems. Now, so you know what, I would be disgusted if the Democratic Party, unless he's going to do single payer option, now that would be the only way I would allow. I would say, okay, if you want to get back at somebody, because he's like a tit for tat. Oh, no. You remember the little stick you put on your shoulder, you knock off the stick, you used to be like knocking off your mama, that would cause a fight. Okay. This is how, and I say that petty because he's that petty.
Well, it's, in my view, this is a game to him. And but he does not realize the seriousness of the games that he plays.
He does not. He does not.
The words that he speaks, the things that he says, they have no credibility, and he doesn't seem to. It's all just. I don't know. He might be playing kabuki with the American people.
But you know what? But every time he comes on the news, every single time he tells you everything is going perfect. We're moving at the pace we had planned. It's going better than
we don't even know what his plans are.
But this is, I'm telling you, he continues to. He thinks that if he says it long enough, and what's scary about it, people do believe him. And I say this again. I try to make sure that my words are not taken out of context, because we have had some folks who've written on the page that merely by mentioning anything positive about President Obama, we're racist. I just don't understand that, as if white people did not vote for President Obama also. But one of the things that I think that it's causing me some, it's causing me a really headache for the most part, is we have learned about what goes on in our politics and our country on a daily basis by watching the news. Yes. We have, your ABCs, your NBCs. You have your far left, your far right. You have your Rush Limbaugh if you want to just fall off the cliff into something oblivion. And then you got some left that's a little far left. Right. Also, that's a little bit. But you know what? I think at some point we cannot allow, because the 45th is not happy with the truth, that he gets the opportunity to determine facts are fake. Anything that does not follow his narrative has now become fake.
Well,
news.
is it a narrative or is it an advertising campaign? Is it a promotion? It's more like we've got the White House, and it's the advertiser in chief who has the narrative.
Remember, he wants to run it. He's trying to sell a product. He's a product. And this is what, and a lot of the the American people that did vote for him, one of the things that they liked about him.
The White House is a spin zone, if you will.
Exactly.
So,
it is. One of the things they liked about him is the fact that he is a businessman. But this country is not a business.
well, running government is clearly not a business.
It has
many factions and many nuances.
Understanding that he does not have the last word. That's why there are checks and balances. That's why we have.
That's why he's fighting with the Freedom Caucus.
But then when you have the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Chairman Nunes, and I know you all heard this all week, and that, again, I'm not even going to, let's not even talk about the White House. Let's talk about your house. Could somebody come into your house, go use your computer, and you not know all night that they came in? And how about you not knowing who opens your front door in the middle of the night?
Are you suggesting that the White House is denying?
There is absolutely no
Nunes
way.
was in fact present during the White House.
There is absolutely no way that the security in the White House.
Well, I think they've come out and said that now he was there.
But you knew that from the beginning. We spent an entire
week.
week.
Decided a way that they were going to feed this information out gradually to have a certain effect. The White House are masters of the news cycle. They're masters of the little bits of information that go out, and they understand that the American audience can't pay as close attention as they need to.
I mean, I have a problem with our I can't say our commander-in-chief. He's the person that sits in the position of commander-in-chief because he's a bully in the playground. If he doesn't get his way, he calls you names. He tries to demoralize your authenticity. I've never
recently,
seen.
He did so with Chuck Todd on NBC News.
Oh my gosh!
Calling him Sleepy Chuck Todd in this particular case. Todd took the high road and responded that he was sleepy because he was up late watching the Final Four, at least some of those games.
Well, just think
but
about.
The bottom line is, and then Chuck Todd just went on further to indicate that how is this president going to lead? Because he's creating a lot of enemies. He doesn't realize that it's not a game. Now, these are my words now. He doesn't seem to realize that when you start pitting factions against each other, you do create enemies. And in order to move your agenda forward, you need maybe not friends, but at least allies.
Well, I tell you what he does need and who he does need. He's doing his a little bit different. He puts out his information through Twitter. We are the first president that does not use a manner of communication that has a control, that has a filter. And the other day, and as an African American woman, I understand it. And even though it took Hillary Clinton to really call it what it was, when April Ryan was at the press corps, and she was saying something to the what is this? Spicer, and she was shaking his head, and he's like, "Oh, don't shake your head." I mean, like, really? I mean, you're going to talk to her like she's a kid in the classroom?
So we're talking about words that hinder,
disrespect,
words that disrespect, words that humiliate, and
but you know who you can do it too, because one of the things that Hillary Clinton said, and I agreed with her, is that he would not have said that to a white woman, nor would he have said that to a white man. The way he said it, because your words sometimes goes along with your body language, the disrespect.
Maybe that is the case, and maybe it's not. I think they're pretty much. I think they are.
April Ryan took it just the same way.
I think they are equal opportunity offenders.
Absolutely.
It does not matter who gets in their path. Be you black, a woman, female, Asian, a Martian. If you get in their way, or if you say something that they don't agree with, they're going to chomp you down on something.
I think one of the purposes that I wanted to make sure that we use this particular show is we're coming to an end of a school year. Some of our children are maybe going to college. Some of them may be leaving college. But they're going out into the world without the cover that we as parents give to our children, for those of us who have children. And we're going into a world where honesty is a blurry line. And we cannot allow that to be what's the basis of how we send our children to college and to be able to manage themselves in the world, because it really cannot be left just unsaid that we have a president that does not have the ability to be completely honest and truthful.
He leads with no moral authority.
None whatsoever.
If his agenda was such that we did not agree, but at least the words that were coming from his mouth, we at least could understand and accept as truth, maybe we'd be talking about something a little different. But in this particular case, I am very troubled, as you are.
I am.
With the words, which do matter, that come from the White House. Because, in my opinion, their words are fake news. In fact, they're creating the
narrative of fake news, because what we're saying, one of the things that I wanted to say, this whole fake news thing started, we know now, with the dumping of information that the Russians dumped.
Right, of course.
But you know where it actually started, and the original fight, which nobody talks about, it was between the first dumping of fake news came through Bernie Sanders. Remember, they were first given the information to use against Hillary. So when they got that fraction between the Dems, and then that kind of changed the whole Democratic convention. People had to step down, and other people had to come in. Remember, that was WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is the same fashion of folks that are dumping all this stuff in that came in on the positive side.
I would agree. Mm-hmm. And I think Mark Zuckerberg chimed in on the whole fake news discussion, because of one of the portals in which this information was being disseminated from was through Facebook. And the first politician, if you will, to adopt the language, just based on my reading, was, guess who?
I think it was
the 45th.
Yeah.
The 45th. And he has continued to use that
that
terminology.
Yeah.
Fake news, when he is in fact the chief disseminator
of fake news.
Fake news, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think it. You know what? And I think we have to stop calling a fact an opinion. If a lie is a lie, it's not an opinion. If you have the entire 14 branches of national security that says that President Obama could not have tapped Trump Tower, that's not an opinion. And so when you say something opinion, that means, you can have your opinion and I can have mine. But no, if a lie is a lie, call it what it is, and don't water it down to make the 45th feel comfortable.
Let's be correct. The information that is available to date and has been gone over and over and over again does not show that that President Obama ordered in any way any kind of wiretap against Mr. Trump.
The fact that we keep calling it a wiretap is really watering it down in itself. Mm-hmm. What you're calling President Obama is a criminal.
Well,
let's again, we're playing with words. When you're saying that President Obama wiretapped the 45th, you're saying that he committed a crime. You're calling him a criminal.
Right.
So you're going back to defaming our first African American president while you're in office.
Words have power.
It does.
And he does not care who it affects, just as long as it does not reflect on him. Not recognizing that the words that he says does in fact reflect his character.
Well, we were talking. I'm just going to get on this because I have a problem with the crotch grabbing incident, because now we have young boys who.
You think it's a direct result?
Let me tell you, I'm not saying that it's a direct result, but we just had a young girl who was gang raped on Facebook Live. I mean, This is
Wow.
Facebook Live. Meaning they didn't care about their faces being shown or anything.
Let's just back up.
We're marginalizing it when you can have a president talking about abusing women by grabbing them by their vaginas, and it gets laughed off.
Well, let's just
and
say
you
this.
and you select him as president.
And the bigger issue is here is where on what moral issue can our president lead?
I don't
Now,
think
not that he
think
needs to
his-
speak on every
his
incident
morality,
that happens
as far as I'm
within
concerned,
within
is not
the
does
United
not
States.
exist.
Not that he needs to speak on every incident that happens within the United States, but can you imagine this president trying to give some kind of authoritative speech on women's rights? Can you imagine him talking about sexual assault? Can you, with any kind of moral authority? Not based on
but the fact
behavior.
that he can't is a problem.
Exactly.
The fact that the president of the United States has no that his word means nothing to talk about issues of sexual harassment
To a certain faction of the world.
What?
Of
But
the
this is
country.
this is the
You
problem.
spoke of
There are people
with
who-
different ideas who
that
think that the president deserves an A.
But you
for
still have
for his
people
work.
who want Clinton to be hung from the highest tree. I mean,
Well,
so my thing is that you can't say it was wrong on this way. I thought that Clinton was a dog just as well as.
Well, I think what
but
speaks-
the difference is that we're trying to mix circumstances a little bit different. We're talking about a man who has, and again, there's many people who have had multiple wives. This one has also committed adultery with one wife while with another one. He was with one for 6 years while he's still married to another. We've never had anything even similar to what we have in this 45th.
No, he has a blended family. Many
Blended,
people have blended families.
But we've never had a president with 3 different wives, 3 sets of children, and a noted adultery relationship for 6 years. We've never had it. Let's not us make any fake news.
No, we've
that's,
never
that's
had
a fact.
that.
That's a fact.
But
The integrity of this president.
if indeed, when he sat in the White House, he was spewing the appropriate language, or at least some form of the truth, I don't think we would talk about this.
No. I think but I think what the problem is that we're expecting that this zebra is going to turn into a horse. He's a zebra. You can paint it black, but soon as the rain comes,
It hasn't even been
the
100
stripes
days
are
yet.
gonna-
It hasn't been 100 days yet. He's got
you
few
cannot.
more years to change
You know
his
what?
stripes.
You can ride a donkey. You can ride a horse, and they all look alike. But the one animal that looks just like those 2 animals that you've never seen ridden is a zebra. Donald Trump is a zebra.
Zebra?
He is
Stripes?
wild. He is untamed, and folks like that about him, maybe. But guess what? I don't want an untamed, wild president.
Well, those individuals who like that about him believe that he is shaking up Washington.
He's
In
not
fact,
shaking
that's
up
why-
Washington.
In
He
fact,
is-
that's why they voted for. At least some of the
If you're
reasons that they voted
shaking
for
it up and you're
to
not getting
shake up
anything
Washington.
done, then what's the purpose?
Well, I don't believe he sees it that way. He's done a number of
Again,
executive orders.
what he sees
Number of
is not
executive
important.
orders.
Honesty, truth, and fact is what we need. We need to hold this 45th to what is honest, what is truthful, and what is factual. We cannot allow him to determine these gray-lined areas and decide that those things that affect him are fake just because it does not follow his narrative. We as Americans, we must continue to teach our children morals. We must speak of morals. And you know what? I employ the news, both ABC, NBC, Fox. I don't care which one who may be out there and may see our feed. You have a responsibility. See, because we're not newscasters. We're basically giving our opinion based on communications with people here in just having everyday lives.
Yes.
You have a responsibility to continue to give fact and not follow the narrative. If they say follow the facts wherever they may lead, if they lead and it's not to the liking of the president,
Well, I think
then they have to give those facts.
The difference between some of the media outlets and is that, as you indicated, some of them just follow the narrative, or they follow the crumbs that are laid out there by the 45th. And truly investigative
And he does that.
reporters, truly
Yes.
investigative reporters do not follow those crumbs. They go off.
The
and
crumbs
they go
come
for-
out through tweets. Anytime he wants, if something he needs to throw a bone to get you thinking about something else, he'll throw out a tweet. Like
Right.
like in the
But
middle
I
of
guess-
his thing, he wants to know why we're not discussing what Hillary did. Why are you still discussing Hillary?
Well, I guess my point is that if he says one thing, his followers, his leaders, his supporters are going to go and follow his lead and believe what he says. But who truly investigate, if someone who is in search of the truth is not going to follow that road, but is going to take a different road and find the truth.
Honesty
Because you cannot-
does not bend. It either is or it isn't. I mean, there are things that are opinions, but when you are just telling something that is known and is clear to everyone that is a lie, I think we need to call, even if it's the President of the United States, if he is a liar, then we must call him
But one of the
what
things-
he is.
One of the things that this campaign, I've come up with so many synonyms for the word lie, because that's all we can say, lie. But now there's dissemble, deflect, prevaricate. I mean, there are any number of words that we could use to
But
describe this
you know what?
president.
We can go down the lexicon and give you all kinds of words, but the one simple word that everybody understands
Yes.
is a lie.
Yes.
And you know that growing up, to call somebody a liar,
That
you
was
bet
very
that was very, very
It
offensive.
remains offensive.
And
It
it is a
remains
very
offensive.
powerful word to say. But we actually have a president who is a bold-faced liar without any filter. In other words, he can go on the bully pulpit at the White House, from the White House podium, and just spew out lies to the entire world. Not to the country, to the entire world.
George Will had something to say about, not necessarily this president, but about politicians in general. And he indicated that a politician's words reveal less about what he thinks about his subject than what he thinks about his audience. Now, we have a liar in chief, and assuming we accept that premise, what does Donald Trump think about the American people?
I think that the American people, this is what we're going to leave you with today. As you continue to engage and have conversations with Sisters-in-Law, whether it be on our Twitter page, our Instagram, through Facebook Live, or you're leaving messages on our Facebook, or you're sending us a message through our email, or our website, www.sistersinlaw.com or sistersinlaw@gmail.com. I really want to hear what you think about honesty, truth, and veracity, and how it affects you, your family, your children. You know, when you little used to say you're telling a story because you didn't want to say you're telling a lie.
Well, let's get George Washington said that he could not tell a lie. At least that's a myth, but nonetheless.
No, no man is perfect.
Right.
But a liar is someone who is very dangerous.
Well,
Because
at a very
if-
basic level, not to be trusted.
A liar with his finger
And you
on
need to trust your
on
president.
the atomic bomb.
The world needs to be able to
We need
trust
to be
the
able
most
to
powerful
trust
man in the
our
world.
president, and unfortunately, we don't have that.
Yes.
So we're leaving you with a thought. What does trust mean to you? And how is this administration, what do you think can be done to regain the trust as Americans, as not just Republicans, not just as Democrats, white or black, or whether he's building walls or whatever he's doing? How can we believe anything when the simplest things he cannot tell the truth? We'll see you next week on show on Wednesday, our tape show, and on Sunday when we are live. having a discussion and a conversation with Sisters and Law. We'll see you next week.
Take care.